And in the real sense, you see this thing everywhere around you every day, how women are struggling to just really fit in and really go about their business. Then you go into books as a means of escape, and you still see that women are still being in this plight. So it's really hard. So Ukamaka is telling us to come and walk in the shoes of an African woman, and maybe it will change your mind. This is for people who keep on saying, boo-hoo, men are abused too. Boo-hoo, men have struggles too. We all know that men have struggles. We all know that. But men do not want to speak up about it. Because why? Why? I'll tell you why. Welcome to my channel. My name is Boke Etefe. And if you know that you love books, please stick around. If you know that you are planning to love books, you can also stick around. So just subscribe to my channel so you do not miss anything. Today I'm going to be talking about Ogadinma, or Everything Will Be Alright by Ukamaka Olisakwe. This book, in no subtle way at all, told us about the plight of women in African societies. This is a story that we know too well. Why? Because a lot of African writers have written similar stories about the plight of women. We're talking about the likes of Bushe Mesheta, talking about Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, we're talking about Ama Ata Edo. Even contemporary writers are still talking about the plight of women, and they begin to sound like a broken record. And I even said to myself that I would love to see books where African women are just really having fun and just relaxing. Because I'm still in Nigeria, and in the real sense, you see this thing everywhere around you every day, how women are struggling to just really fit in and really go about their business. Then you go into books as a means of escape, and you still see that women are still being in this plight. So it's really hard. So Okamaka is telling us to come and walk in the shoes of an African woman, and maybe it will change your mind. This is for people who keep on saying, boo-hoo, men are abused too. Boo-hoo, men have struggles too. We all know that men have struggles. We all know that. But men do not want to speak up about it. Because why? Why? I'll tell you why. Because most men are love that full sense of power. So when they say, oh, we struggle too, that's only when people come out to say, oh, we are facing this thing. So they say, oh, we struggle too. You struggle too, but you're quiet about it. Let us make, and people will be like, okay, let us fight this. Let us make the society better for everybody. No, because some people believe that that's where they draw power and strength from. Yeah, I'm looking at you. So don't boo-hoo and don't say, oh, men struggle too, women are just being so emotional, women are just making up the stories. No, don't do that. African women need things to be all right, fast. Because we're really tired of just being strong women. And when you say strong woman, I had to unlearn the fact that when they refer to African women as strong women, they actually are trying to talk about how much you can chew and how far they can push you to the wall, and you just keep going and keep breaking the wall without fighting back. How you can keep quiet, how you can stay in the background, just shush, stay pretty, or they never ask us to stay pretty, just keep quiet there and just stay in one corner. That's what African women really are. Like, so when it's a strong woman, it's actually a picture of a woman carrying a baby, going to the farm. Strong woman, when women are staying in abusive marriages, oh, she's really wise. She knows how to hold her family together. That's a strong woman that's who's referred to as a strong woman in the African sense. Or when you talk about black women, when really life, there's more to life for every single person. We're not created to be strong women by how much suffering and trauma we can withstand. Uh-uh. I'm so happy that a lot of people are getting to embrace this fact that your strength is not measured by how much you can chew and swallow and shut your mouth. So for people who say, oh, boo-hoo, let us take a walk in the shoes of Ogadinma, for example, in this book. The book is based on the titular character, Ogadinma. And Ogadinma is an Igbo name. It's a beautiful Igbo name. Mostly, I've never seen a guy who bears Ogadinma before, but it's mostly girls I've seen bear Ogadinma. So if you're a guy who bears Ogadinma, forgive me, I've not just seen any guy bearing Ogadinma. It's mostly girls. So Ogadinma means, just like the title, Ogadinma, or everything will be alright. So that's what the name translates to be. everything will be all right. And things were not all right for Ogadinma, a sweet, naive girl in this book. She was only 17 years old when she went to the office of this man who her father told her, okay, go meet this man. He is going to help you with your admission. Here. Education, university education is very important to Nigerians. People weep to get admission into schools. The average Nigerian values education because like a sure way of balance of finding your footing in the society. So once you just have that certificate, it's just like a sure path for you in society. So the average Nigerian values education. So Akadema is one of the fortunate girls that her father was willing to even take her to the university. At that time, she was still in Kano, which is in northern region of Nigeria, and her father was like, okay, go and meet this man, he's going to help you with the admission. And this man forced himself on Ogadinma. So she was just barely 17 there. Then a girl who just wanted to go to school, and she was molested. This led to an unwanted pregnancy where she had to go and abort the child in a quack hospital. There were complications that arose, so her father found out about it and he felt ashamed. Shame, something that is really peculiar with African parents. They will do anything just for you not to bring shame and disgrace to them. So Ogadema's father was ashamed of her. So he shipped her to Lagos to live with her uncle. The uncle's wife, seeing a pretty young black girl, said, oh, she's going to be a perfect fit for my brother. So she linked her brother Tobe with Ogadinma. Ogadinma was barely 17 years old. I have to repeat that again. She was just 17. And this was her fate in life. This was what she was handed. And she had no say because in African societies, if you cannot relate to what I'm saying, then thank your stars. Just thank God you cannot relate to everything I'm saying right now. Okay? But are these things happening? Of course. So, back to the story. So Ogadinma was hooked up with Tobe, who was 30 years old. Yes, 30. We'll talk about child marriage some other time, but right now we're talking about Ogadinma's story, which is one of many. So Ogadinma was hooked up with Tobe. She didn't have a say in this thing. She already brought shame to her father, who thought she was second-hand material because someone already impregnated her and all that. So this was her only way of getting in contact with her father again and making him happy, bringing pride to the family. So Ogadinma had to marry Tobe. A man who did not care about her needs, a man who always wanted to speak for her. He picked clothes for her. Everything was just by him. Everything was him. And Tobe, on the other hand, why did he choose Ogadinma to be his wife? I'll tell you. So it's something that's also very peculiar in African society. We know this story all too well, like I said in the beginning. So Tobe saw a young-looking, beautiful girl, and guess what? Apart from her being beautiful, she was shy and polite. Yeah. Something that all African girls have to always possess. You have to be polite and you have to be shy, put your face down when they're talking to you and all that. Then, after that, she can cook. So he told her that, I like your soup, the food she prepared. Oh, Ogadinma made this food so tasty. That's something that every African man look out for in a wife. Tasty meals. Then, he saw that girl and was like, oh, homemaker, she won't talk back at me, she's just the right girl. I have been on though I have this observation and I really beg that you prove me wrong. Most African men, let me say most because some people will be in my comments saying not all African men but most, I'll just say some. I'll say it, I'll humor you there. Some African men, no, scratch that, most of them get married because it's time. So Tobe now is a bachelor who has been maybe most likely living on his own because he had to be coming to his sister's house to eat. So number one, he can't cook for himself, so he has to come to his sister's home to eat food to eat. So yeah, and he's already in his 30s, and so I was like, okay, this my brother is rich, he has everything, he's already clocking 30, he needs to start having children, a good wife that's going to really just take care of his needs. So that was what, so Ogadima fit that description. So she was shipped to Tobe. So in this fleeting whirlwind romance, Ogadima suffered abuse in this marriage, both mentally and physically. She couldn't speak up for herself. He just wanted her to be there, and he also always blamed her for his misfortunes. So religious extremism creeps in here. When Tobe's business started going south, he blamed her for his misfortune. When she spoke up, he hit her until Ogadima could take it no more. This book is set in 1980s era in Nigeria, an era marked with coup and counter-coup, injustice, and a lot of food shortage. And maybe plenty for some, because Ogadima's friend Adri was actually enjoying during this era of food shortage and people really feeding from hand to mouth. So for the small percent, there were actually plenty of food for them, while for many, food shortage era. And the book is set in both Kano and Lagos, Nigeria. There's a lot of things to learn from this book. This book can easily be termed a feminist book, because the author was not subtle in pointing out what women have to face on a daily basis in society. She was not subtle about it at all. From the words that Aunty Ngozi told Ogadima, from the words her father told her. So Ogadima was really just the center. She was like a pawn in the hands of society, and these people she would dance. Anything that she was told to do, she would do it just to make everybody happy except herself. So there was just this, it felt like Ogadima was drowning, and there were many times in this book that I really just wanted everything to be alright with her. I really just wanted her to take a break. There were fleeting moments of her being happy, but I really just wanted her to be genuinely happy, just really happy, and just exhale. But it was really difficult. There's a lot to learn, and one thing that really stood with me is the fact that everything Ogadima experienced in this book could have been avoided. That's what stood with me. Starting from the beginning, if only the government or the school system were not so corrupt. So let me tell you how school system works in Nigeria. I schooled in Nigeria, so I am in a good position to tell you. Okay, so in Nigeria, there's an alarming percentage of people. I'm talking about almost 41% of people live in poverty in Nigeria. So among this 41%, so in the 200 million plus people living in Nigeria, only a small percentage of people can afford to take their children out of the country to school. Really small percentage. Then there's another percentage that can take their kids to private universities. They're springing up everywhere in the country, and it's really on the high side. So most people cannot afford it. Again, 41% of people live in poverty in Nigeria. Then we have to, the remaining people have to scramble for public education. So these schools are funded by the government, and the fees are really low, so a lot of people can afford it. But still, they say an alarming percentage that they can't even afford this at all. And so that's really just how it works. So getting into these public universities is a chore, because even when you write the examinations and you go through with it well, you really you get a good grade. It's at the same time you're not guaranteed admission into the school. Why? Corruption and injustice in the system. So you see that even someone who scored lesser than you might even gain admission into that said school that you have applied for. So many people really just try to get connections with people that maybe you know a lecturer in the school, or you know someone in the administrative building or whatever, so they can get admission into the school. And again, like I told you, university education is really important to Nigerians. So people are really just really fighting to get into schools. So this was the plight of Ogadima in this book. So if only that the schools were not so corrupt, there was a system that works, Ogadima would have not felt the need to go to that man's office. Need I add that she already got a good grade in the examination, so that was not even a problem. She was already a bright girl, and that happened to her. So some people will be like, oh, why did she was 17? Why did she not know about sex and all that? Okay, Have you met Nigerian parents? Because Ogadima spoke about an aunt who got pregnant out of wedlock and her father shipped her off to marry a widower. So sexual education is like a forbidden topic, especially for girls. Boys are just meant to figure it out, while girls are just meant to close your legs, don't even know about it. Don't you're not expected to know what happens during a sexual activity until you're married. So yeah. So I don't even blame Ogadima for that. If only the system was working and Ogadima just, oh, again admission, this would have been avoided. So Ogadima had to go to a quack because she couldn't even trust her father. Her father was the only one raising her because her mother left. So she couldn't even trust her father to tell her father what was going on with her. Again, it could have been avoided if only she had someone she could talk to. Maybe, assuming her auntie was still in the house, she would have been able to talk to her auntie. Maybe if her father was not so stiff and close-minded, she would have been able to talk to him about it. Again, it could have been avoided. Then she went to a quack and all that. She was shipped to Lagos. If only at Ngozi spoke to her and said, what do you want? And she was like, I want to go to school. Her marriage to Tobe would have been avoided. If only Tobe was a decent human being, this would have been avoided too. If only people stopped being so extreme with religion, Ogadima would have not gone through what she went through with that pastor that Tobe took her to, because the pastor said she had some spiritual husband, so he was one blocking. Ogadima was one on the way of his good fortune, of Tobe's good fortune. So yeah. So this story is just a ripple effect of how the society, through their laws and through their mistakes and mishaps and just really boxing people in, caused Ogadima a lot of trauma. And we have to keep on, because I can't say start, because people have tirelessly talked about these things, and yet it's like we sound like a broken record, and people will still say, oh, you're just reaching. And it hurts me when people say this kind of thing, because are you really just oblivious to the happenings around you? So that's why books like these are important, and people still do not believe. So I would encourage you to, if you don't know anything about the plight of women, what's happening with women in society, which is hard, because even when you say that yes, men get raped, oh, okay, go ahead. But in a recent study, was it 2020 or 2019? 2019, I think. The study was held by, I've forgotten, I'll just write out the name on my screen now. But it was, when this study was conducted, it said that 1 in 3 girls in Nigeria are going to go through sexual abuse, some form of sexual abuse, before they're 25. 1 in 3 girls. So when you say that men are raped too, yeah, we know men are raped too, but these figures are really alarming. Women are still the same people that are marginalized in society. Although we are also very many like the men, but we're still marginalized. Okay, then you are not, at least you're not grabbed when you are walking past in society. When you are just going to your junction, your gate, someone can just start grabbing you. Why? Because he just wants to grab you, like you're some animal. So yeah, before you say boo-hoo, women are so emotional, they're just talking. No, it's not just talk. At least your parents will not tell you that, oh, be nice to that guy outside our street, because who knows, he might be a rapist. So for you guys, just always say all men. So yeah, not all men, but how do we know? So when our mothers or our parents tell us that, okay, be nice to that guy, you don't have to roll your eyes at him, because who knows, he might be a bad guy. So maybe, just maybe, because this is never guaranteed. So just maybe, if he remembers that you were nice to him, or you were kind, or you smiled and just greeted him and went your way, maybe if he had plans of hurting you, he won't hurt you. But still, again, maybe. Before you say boo-hoo, think of these things and reflect on it and chew on it. Yeah, because this is the reality of a lot of people. The same gender experience female genital mutilation. The same gender are given away as child brides. Hello. Sometimes I read a tweet today and the person was like, evil knows no gender. We're talking about rape, so they were like, evil knows no gender, and I'm like, yeah, even though evil doesn't have a gender, we all know that. But we're talking about somebody, a woman was raped. So that's what we're talking about right now. We're not talking about a man. And when it's time to talk about a man that was raped, and if men want to talk about it, we'll join our voices and talk about it. But right now, we're talking about a woman that was raped. Why make it about you? It baffles me every time. And reading Ogadinma by Ukamaka Olisakwe really just coincided with a period in Nigeria where people are actually talking against gender-based violence, especially against women. It really just stirred my anger correctly, because every time I just really crave for books that show women, African women, being happy. I crave for days like that, because it's almost, you can't even write about women without talking about how they have to face one plight in society or the other. So yes, African women need everything to be all right. People talk about how feminism does not really cover all women. I believe now, because if you look at the plight of African women and what feminists are even marching against, so yeah, African women need everything to be all right fast. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, and please, most importantly, please pick up this book and read. It's really nice and it's so refreshing. The imagery was flawless. You know how much I love an author with a good sense of imagery. So Ukamaka Olisakwe has a place in my heart already. Yeah. So until next time, do take good care of yourself, and goodbye.